What's up everyone and welcome back to the MMA Zone. Today, let's get started with Aljamain Sterling trolls Sean O'Malley with tongue-in-cheek response. At UFC 288, Henry Cejudo returned from his 3-year-long absence to compete against bantamweight champion Aljamain Sterling in a highly anticipated fight that had fans split down the middle in regards to who they thought would emerge victorious from the contest. After the bout saw Triple C come up short in his return, his head coach, Eric Albarracin, claimed that the event sold 700,000 pay-per-views, a statement that was quickly refuted by the Funkmaster, who said that he was hearing the card would be lucky to break 250,000 pay-per-view buys. Despite the hype surrounding the fight and a fairly strong card that featured a welterweight title eliminator between Belal Muhammad and Gilbert Burns in the co-main event, the comments also caught the attention of Sugar Sean O'Malley, who has predicted that his fight with Sterling will do far more buys thanks to his draw power. This week, while looking for further updates on the situation, O'Malley tweeted Sterling asking how the UFC 288 card performed on pay-per-view. The champ was quick to sarcastically respond, trolling Sugar Sean with a reference to the 700,000 buys he called out Albarracin for claiming. Naturally, fans were quick to react to the claim, with many seeing the humor in his response, and others failing to understand the joke as they called the champ out for capping. So far, there's been no official report regarding how many pay-per-view buys the event sold. However, the expectation is that the UFC 292 event between O'Malley and Sterling in Boston later this year will surpass it at the box office given the animosity between the two and the hype that O'Malley brings into the fight. In addition, there's been a lot of talk of the UFC reportedly loading up the card with good fights, which will certainly help fuel pay-per-view buys. As Sterling revealed several weeks ago, he's heard that Dana White plans to stack the card. In addition to the bantamweight fight between Sterling and O'Malley, the women's strawweight title will be up for grabs as Zhang Weili and Amanda Lemos compete in the co-main event. Do you think the card will end up outperforming the UFC 288 card, headlined by Sterling and Cejudo? UFC fight updates. 3 new fights have been added to upcoming UFC cards, starting with a fight between Yana Santos and Macy Chiasson at UFC Vegas 76 on July 1st. The card will be headlined by a middleweight clash between Sean Strickland and Abus Magomedov and is expected to take place at the UFC Apex. The fight will see Santos look to snap a 2-fight skid that most recently saw her drop a unanimous decision to Holly Holm after returning to action in March following a long layoff. On the flip side, Macy Chiasson will look to bounce back from a September loss to Irene Aldana, which saw her knocked out with an upkick to the body. Next up, we have a fight between Poliana Viana and Yasmin Lucindo, added to UFC Vegas 78 on August 12th. The event, which will be headlined by Vicente Luque and Rafael Dos Anjos, it'll see Viana look to keep the momentum rolling after a November win over Jin Yu Frey. On the flip side, Lucindo will be looking to pick up her second straight win inside the octagon after an April win over Brogan Walker. Last but certainly not least, we have a fight between Gerald Meerschaert and Andre Petroski, who are set to compete at UFC 292 on August 19th in Boston. Meerschaert will be looking to bounce back from an April loss to Joseph Pfeiffer, while Petroski will be looking to keep his 4-fight win streak alive. Since suffering the only professional loss of his career back in 2020, while fighting under the LFA banner, Petroski has gone undefeated in the UFC, most recently picking up a decision win over Wellington Turman back in November. Before we continue, make sure you give that like button some love, and be sure to subscribe to the MMA Zone for all of the latest news. Belal Muhammad and Sean Strickland go at it. Belal Muhammad and Sean Strickland have been going at it online recently after an exchange that Strickland caught on video at the UFC PI. The outspoken and oftentimes controversial Strickland called Muhammad Thunder Thumbs, egging the welterweight contender on as he walked away and joked about the two being in the gym together. Prior to the footage, Muhammad had called out Strickland for a fight after Luke Rockhold was forced out of their scheduled UFC 268 bout. In his tweet offering to step in on short notice, Muhammad called Strickland a piece of trash. When the footage of the two at the UFC PI after the call-out went public, it sparked a back-and-forth exchange on Twitter that led to Muhammad posting a video stating that Strickland simply isn't that guy. In addition, he called out Strickland's fans for their behavior as well.
Their racist hillbilly fans are saying, "Oh man, you're a beast, you're a man. Look how crazy he is," but look at the distance. It's like someone recording a lion in the wild. You stay at a safe distance. You don't get into the danger zone. You didn't get into the danger zone. Just stop this. You're not that guy.
You're not that guy, pal. Trust me. You're not that guy.
That didn't sit too well with Strickland, who quote tweeted the video, challenging Muhammad to a fight in the gym. So far, no follow-up on the situation. However, if the pair find themselves together at the PI again, it certainly sounds like the UFC better hope to have some sort of security around to break things up. Sean O'Malley reacts to Khamzat Chimaev's recent comments. As Khamzat Chimaev continued to go back and forth with Kamaru Usman on social media, he's made sure to keep up his verbal onslaught of other top-ranked contenders. From Paulo Costa to Colby Covington, Chimaev has shown he's willing to call out anyone and everyone. During a recent YouTube video, Chimaev spoke about Colby Covington's position as the welterweight #1 contender, questioning whether the former interim champ is only getting a crack at the title because the UFC wants an American to be champion. While many disagree with Covington's right to a title shot after beating Jorge Masvidal and were quick to jump onto Chimaev's side, Sugar Sean O'Malley was quick to issue a much more lighthearted response. During a recent episode of his Bro Malley podcast, he spoke about the two-division contenders' comments.
Whoa, Hamza, that's a little... I'm offended, dude. As an American man myself.
You should say something to him.
Yeah, Hamza, you're lucky. It's onside. Jokes, don't kill me.
So far, there's been plenty of confusion regarding when Chimaev will return to the octagon again. While he claims that he's ready to take a fight right away, the latest reports have him competing later this year in Abu Dhabi at UFC 294. While Chael Sonnen had previously reported that he would fight Paulo Costa, the former middleweight title challenger is now booked to fight at UFC 291 in July, leaving fans to wonder who boars will be fighting. Stay tuned for updates as they become available. UFC releases fan favorite despite having fight left on contract. The Ghost Pepper, Eric Gonzalez, was handed his walking papers by the UFC after dropping a first-round KO loss to Trevor Peek back in February. The loss marked the third straight for Gonzalez, who took to social media to reveal that he was cut despite having one more fight on his contract. So far, no word yet from the UFC on the matter. However, Gonzalez seems eager to return to the win column and get back in the UFC sooner rather than later. At 31 years old, the former Combate veteran will look to put things together on the regional scene in order to earn his way back into the octagon. Coach confident former champion can reclaim place atop the division. Although Cody Garbrandt has gone through a rough patch as of late, winning just 2 out of his last 5 fights, his coach, Dewey Cooper, is confident that the former champion can reclaim his place at the top of the division. During a recent interview with MMA Underground, Cooper spoke about Garbrandt, defending the former champ by pointing out that he's just 31 years old and still technically in his physical prime. In addition, Cooper pointed out that Garbrandt has wrestled his entire life and is more than just one path to victory inside the octagon.
And I used the term earlier, simplify your mind. And that's the simplification that we worked on. Hey, man, just win. W-I-N, just win. If it comes exciting, awesome. If it comes GSP style, awesome. At the end of the day, get your goddamn hand raised and we'll be more spectacular next time.
Cooper's comments about winning with a style similar to that of Hall of Famer Georges St-Pierre likely comes as a result of all the criticism Garbrandt has received in the wake of his decision win over Trevin Jones at UFC 285. Although Garbrandt got the win, many criticized him for relying on his wrestling late in the fight. Regardless of how he got the job done, Garbrandt's win snapped a 2-fight skid that included a TKO loss at flyweight before returning to 135. Currently, the former champ is set to face Mario Bautista at UFC 292 on August 19th. Although Bautista isn't currently ranked, he's continued to rattle off impressive wins inside the octagon. In 2022, Bautista recorded 4 wins, before then keeping the momentum rolling with a first-round submission win over Guido Canetti back in March. With the stakes at an all-time high for the former champ, it'll be interesting to see whether he's able to keep the momentum rolling and earn his way back into the UFC's official bantamweight rankings. Today's video was packed with some juicy stories from the fight world. What are your thoughts about what's going on in MMA? Don't forget to smash the like button and subscribe to the MMA Zone to see more videos just like this. See you next time.